I do the Make It with Marcia, and usually I'm doing crafts and that kind of thing. But at one time I did do a jelly making class, and actually we did jelly and jam. And I have a peach tree that is wonderful, a Reliant peach, and it produces every year. And it's really good to put up whatever you have in your garden, and you have it all year long. And if you make, I make peach jam, and in this case I'm making grape jelly because we planted grapevines and they really came in. The only hang-up is it was at the end of the season, and then it was getting towards Thanksgiving, and I ran out of time, so I stuck them in my freezer. So I hate to admit it, I pulled them out of the freezer, defrosted them, and I'm making jelly now. Now, I have always used Shore Gel. Some people use other products, but I find it much easier with Shore Gel. And Ball Company does the jars. And these are jelly jars. The problem you have is they make wonderful gifts, and you give them away and no one gives them back. So consequently, you always wind up buying jelly jars. But they come as a jar. Whoops, that's an important sound. That means that jar was sealed. So this is a jar that hasn't been used. So it has the jar, it has the screw-on lid, and it has this cap. And we will be making up the jelly, and then we'll be putting these caps on that have been in hot water, putting them on top, and putting your finger on and screwing the lid on, and then it will seal. But to make doubly sure, I do a boiling water bath, and I'm not kidding you, they'll keep for years. And the original way was to put wax on top, and the idea is it takes all the air out, seals it up, and keeps it pure and bacteria free. So I think this year we'll probably, a lot of us will be making produce from our gardens. Now each box of Shore Gel comes with instructions, and especially if you haven't done it before, it's a little hard because the instructions are all over the place. So what I do is I circle the instructions with a colored marker so that I can find them again. And in this case, I'm doing instructions for making jelly. So I took this part was making the jelly directions, and this part is telling you what ingredients you need to have. I need to have, I believe, 7 cups of liquid. So I have 5 cups of jelly, of grape juice. So I'm going to augment it with a little bit of bottled grape juice. People add water, but why do that? You might as well add a little grape juice flavor. You could even add grape juice and raspberry, anything like that. And in this case, we need the grapes and 5 cups of prepared juice and 7 cups of sugar. And that will be, and your box of Shore Gel. And that will be your ingredients. So what they have you do with jelly, you're not having any of the pulp, it's clear. And so you take your grapes, rinse them off, mash them, well, which you'll have a stiff arm the next day, mash them with a potato masher, and then you cook it up for about 5 or 10 minutes and get as much flavor out of it as you can. And then I just put it in a strainer overnight, and then the next day you'll have your juice. And so now I prepared my juice. Now the Ball Jar books have all sorts of ingredients and ideas of what kind of jellies and jams you can make. You can even make wine jelly, which is really fun, especially for the holidays. Because you'll find that when you make something like this, it does make a wonderful gift. And people really appreciate it, and it's perfect as a hostess gift. The only thing is you need a good old beer can opener to get these, because I gave it to somebody and they got the jar and they just about had to use their whole toolbox to get this lid on. And to get it off, it's really easy if you pop off with an old-fashioned beer can opener. So anyway, so we've got the start of it, and we're going to go out in the kitchen and cook it up. Grape juice in here, and I've got it on my back burner. We've got a tiny kitchen here, and I'm going to be putting it on to heat it up to a boil. But also, while it's heating up, I'm putting in the shore gel that came from this package and the instructions every time. So I'm going to dump this in. And then the other thing that we're doing is adding a little bit of butter, and you'll see that it's becoming a rolling boil. That butter is melting. It's getting to be a rolling boil. And I'm just going to stir it up a little bit. Now, when you have a rolling boil, I'm going to take this sugar and hopefully pop it in a little more gracefully than I did the other. And we're going to put the sugar in here. Stir to the pot, get it all mixed in. Because it's sort of a little bit of a thick slurry until it gets mixed in. And I feel like the witch with her brew. And we're just going to get this stirred up. And then it's going to come up to a rolling boil. And we'll have it boil for 1 minute. Yeah, this isn't quite mixed in. It needs a little more mixing. Because you really want that sugar all mixed in. And what's going to happen is, when this comes up to a really rolling boil, and we do it for 1 minute, and then it's getting up to the temperature, this is going to be really hot, hotter than boiling. And we're going to get this to a very hot temperature. By the time this comes up to a boil and we boil it for 1 minute. Need a large pot because it foams up. It's just the nature of the beast, and I'm not sure why it does that. If you look in here, you'll see there's a little bit of foam. It is kind of good. You just slide a spoon along, and the foam will go into the spoon. And this is what the foam looks like. It's not the ends of the earth that you don't take it off. The grape jelly isn't bad. Sometimes the jams are really thick. And then I just get rid of it. Although this time not into my lids. So now we are stirred up. This is ready to be put in our jelly jars. And I have a ladle. And I have this trusty little, you absolutely have to have this or you'll go insane. And you stir that, or put it right in. Now, you want to put it in so it's up there pretty close to the top. And it'll look like it's filling up, but it's not really. So I'm going to take this, it could have been a little fuller, but that's all right. Take this, do that, and take my little lid, pop it on there. And, oops, okay, oops. Put your finger in the middle, screw it, And that just holds right on. Now as we go, we do it as quickly as we can. I always have extra jars because, now that's a little fuller, that's better. It's better not to have too much room in between. Now the interesting part is as we go along here, the heat it'll heat up and force the air out, and then these lids will literally create a vacuum in there. So you'll hear them pop, and that's really what you want them all to pop. And I'm just wiping the top just to be sure, because you want to make sure that it makes a clean seal. And I hold the center down and turn the lids. And when I give them a boiling bath, then and if you're making a large amount, you just have everything lined up. You can make multiple batches. And don't get excited, because any germs that it's exposed to will be absolutely boiled to death here. It's a very sterile system. For years I just used wax, and no one ever got sick, because the wax seals it up like this, but this is much more, it's safer. I always seem to make more than I think it's going to be. And here again, wear something that's dark or an apron. Resurrect your mother's apron. Or grandmother's. Now I cleaned off the top. We wind up with an extra jar, and that's fine because we'll eat it. And what I do is I take my jars and put them one at a time in a can that has water that we're going to bring up to a boil. One of these popped, but of course we had the camera locked on the pop. When we're done with this, we'll now show how this is set up in the can, watering bath. And They call this processing, so we're going to bring this up. I'm going to put the lid on and bring it up to a boil. And I'm just going to... Okay, take the lid off. Now I had these for 7 minutes. You can do 5, 7, 10 minutes. And then I'm going to take them out one by one. And once they come out, I'll do a slight bit. Once you come out, as it cools down, it'll start popping. And then it's sealed. And then don't touch them, because once they've sealed, if you start moving them around too much, you could break the seal. So it's best to leave them on your counter, and I usually leave them overnight. That started to pop already. Hear that pop? That means it's sealed. And you need your beer can opener to get into it. We had that extra, you hear them popping. We started taking a spoon and taking a taste of the jelly. You see it's thickening up already. And it's not like any store-bought jelly you'll ever have. Even the specialty jellies, it's much better than that. There's nothing like homemade jam and jelly. And it's basically an easy project to do. And get your ball jar book, get your Sure Gel, and go for it. And you'll love it, because it seems like a lot of work, but you'll be thrilled that you did it. And we're happy with our grape jam.